What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be reviewing and breaking down The Flash Season 8, Episode 13. So yeah, the episode starts right where we left off with last episode, with Iris staring right at Eddie. And at first he just acts like, completely normal Eddie, which, that really made me think initially that, hey, this might not be DEATHSTORM. This could be like, the actual Eddie, courtesy of, maybe the Still Force or something like that. But yeah, then we see Caitlin, who has basically been affected by DEATHSTORM, obviously, from last episode. We find out that DEATHSTORM needs Caitlin to experience more grief before she's ready to become DEATHSTORM's bride, which I think that's honestly a really intense storyline for Caitlin here, and I think it's working out perfectly so far. So then DEATHSTORM comes to Star Labs and talks to Frost in the form of Ronnie, which was always cool to see. Ronnie returning once again. It's great to see, as I said before. And at the same time, we see Team Flash looking at people who they've lost. Of course, courtesy of DEATHSTORM, trying to build upon their grief. Chester sees his father, Allegra sees her cousin, and Barry sees his mother. Now, this scene really did seem like Eddie's appearance was separated from all these other characters coming back, But yeah, then we go back to the time vault where Barry is talking to his, quote-unquote mother, and she basically tells Barry, Iris is going to die, which, of course, that's just DEATHSTORM trying to get into Barry's head and try to feed off of his grief, so then Caitlin can eventually, somehow, absorb that grief and become DEATHSTORM's bride. Obviously, that's the master plan with DEATHSTORM forcing all of Team Flash to hallucinate people that have died. So yeah, we do find out that Eddie is here because of DEATHSTORM. However, with that being said, I think there absolutely has to be something else going on with Eddie this season because, and I've said this before in previous videos, Eric Wallace, the Flash's showrunner, said Eddie would return in an unexpected way. Now, this way right here is not very unexpected, considering we've known what DEATHSTORM can do. He can make people hallucinate. We've known that he could do that for a while now. Yeah, we also see Mark, or Chillblaine, return in this episode, and I guess it's kind of fitting because, obviously at the time of me recording this video, the episode is not yet finished, but yeah, I think it's fitting that he's returning because I'm assuming Frost is going to die in this episode, but of course, I could end up being very wrong. So then we go back to the time vault where Barry is still talking to his mom, or, DEATHSTORM, and DEATHSTORM basically keeps saying that Iris is going to die, Bart and Nora are going to die because of Iris's death and all that. We also get a Thawne reference when Barry and his mother start talking about that night that Nora died, which I thought was pretty interesting. And we also see, some flashbacks of Barry losing his father, the original Nora, and H.R. Wells, which is all pretty cool to see, all those scenes once again. So then we go back to Ghost to Eddie, who's talking about, what happened to actual Eddie, which, as I just said, it's pretty refreshing to hear those scenes being brought up once again. Obviously all those flashbacks there were pretty cool to see. Joe shows up as well, and he's actually affected by DEATHSTORM, and he apparently sees his old partner Shire before, he was the partner before Eddie in season 1, which, I think that was a pretty interesting a character to implement into this storyline. I think that kind of worked out for Joe. So Barry continues to see flashbacks of people he's lost, even like Oliver, which I thought was really cool, seeing the Green Arrow suit once again. Obviously, that was just a flashback, like I said. But in the meantime, Caitlin's condition gets much worse as all the grief from Team Flash is starting to turn Caitlin into what DEATHSTORM wants. However, then Frost is able to turn into what she calls Hellfrost, and then her new abilities somehow have the power to reverse the effects of DEATHSTORM on the rest of Team Flash. But of course, Caitlin is still in jeopardy. So now, guys, we got a Frost versus DEATHSTORM battle, and Frost ends up removing the Quantum Splicer from DEATHSTORM and defeating him. So yeah, she saves the day, Caitlin is back to normal, and everything is great until Frost faints after all that. So yeah, Frost is, obviously Caitlin's the doctor, she's operating on Frost. Frost is brought back by Caitlin for a second, but then right after that, Frost ends up dying, which was actually a very emotional scene for Caitlin, especially, when she and Barry revealed to the rest of Team Flash that Frost is gone. That was a terrifically acted scene by every single actor that was there in that scene. But yeah, that was a really intense last few minutes of the episode. And overall, I'd say this episode, it wasn't too bad. I thought it was pretty good. Frost had obviously she was basically the main character this episode because, she was dying. And yeah, guys, I know I said in the past that I really didn't like Frost that much. However, this episode, I think it was, well deserved that she actually got a storyline. Of course, she ended up being the hero in the end. And another thing, I think Frost's death, I think, is really going to kick Chillblaine out of the show, which I'm pretty happy about because I really did not, I don't like Chillblaine at all. I think he's an awful character. He is going to be appearing in episode 14 or the next episode, but then I'm going to assume that's the last episode he'll be in. So I'm pretty happy about that. But yeah, I'd say this episode wasn't so bad. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it around an 8.2 out of 10. There's a lot of intense moments, a lot of good moments. But yeah, next episode seems to just be like, a funeral episode for Frost. It's sort of going to be a filler episode, I'd assume. And then the episode after that, we're going to see Barry going into the Speed Force, or not the Speed Force, but the Still Force, rather, which is going to be pretty cool to see. I'm not exactly sure if that's going to be starting the back half of the season storyline, or if that's just going to be like, somewhat of a filler episode, even though it's still going to be continuing the storyline, I'm assuming, with Iris and the Still Force, all that stuff. And then, of course, in the back half, we're going to have something to deal with the Reverse Flash, so there's something to look forward to there as well. But anyways, I'd say that's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to comment your thoughts on this video down below, as well as your thoughts on the episode. What did you guys think of it? And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.